Be impeccable with your word. Be impeccable with your word is the first agreement in Miguel Ruiz book, The Four Agreements. If you haven't read this book, I highly, highly recommend it. I'm due to read this again. I read this a few years back, and to be honest with you, this can be really a life-altering book. It's so easy and so simple. He basically talks about societal programming and how we have been programmed since birth. And you've heard me talk about this in previous videos, programmed societally through the media, education, religion, and through our parents and societal norms. And we have these agreements that we make as a culture in terms of what's true. And so until you can sort of break free from those untruths, you won't really truly begin to feel free. And so this book is about freedom, and it basically breaks it down into a very simple recipe of 4 agreements that you change. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to just talk about the first agreement today, which is be impeccable with your word. And I'm not going to paraphrase from the book. To be honest, I read the book years ago, and I couldn't paraphrase from the book right now if I tried. What I can do is just tell you what that means to me and how it's helped me tremendously in my life. And I hope that it will help you tremendously in your life. So what does be impeccable with your word really mean? It means everything that you say has energy. Your word, your voice, things you say, it's all energetic. And when you put it out there into the universe hears what you say. And it doesn't have the same filter that we have. So being explicitly careful about the words you use, how you use them, will have tremendous impact on your life. So to me, the very first thing that be impeccable with your word really means is be honest. Don't lie. Don't tell people what they want to hear because you're afraid you'll hurt their feelings. You can be honest and be tactful so that you're telling the truth and saying it in a way that people can hear. What I have tried to do for many, many, many years is always try to think about how is what I want to convey going to be received by this person? And so how can I say it in a way that this person will hear what I want them to hear? That's still being honest. It's just about how you deliver what it is you're trying to convey. You're doing it in a way that isn't going to create problems. So thinking it through is very important before you speak. So being impeccable with your word means that sometimes you need to be quiet and you need to listen to what the other person's saying, because way too many arguments stem from the fact that somebody says something and the other person reacts. They don't stop, listen to what's being said, process, think about, okay, what's the end game here? The end game here isn't to have a problem, it's to have an agreement, okay, no pun intended. So I need to deliver this in a way this person can hear it. So sometimes you have to be very quiet, you have to listen, you have to think, process, and then deliver what it is you're going to say in a way that the person you're intending this for can hear it. So be honest. The next thing that comes to mind for me is to have integrity. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Do what's right. Say what's right. Don't just go along to get along, because that's weak. That's weakness. People will get more respect from standing in their integrity and doing what's right and saying what's right. Even though you may initially rub some people the wrong way, no one knows this better than me. I've been rubbing people the wrong way since I was about, 1.5 years old. I have always been like this, okay? And I've gotten ostracized for a good part of my life from people because I just tell the truth. And yeah, I've suffered some for it, but that's because, you're going to suffer for that when you're a kid and you tell the truth. That is frowned upon, right? Your peers don't like it. Adults certainly don't like it. Okay. So, but as an adult, people will respect you more. Stand in your integrity. Do what's right. Say what's right. Of course, how you deliver it is extremely important because you want to be impeccable with your word. But stand in your integrity. The next thing that comes to mind is sometimes being impeccable with your word is saying nothing. It's not responding, because no answer is absolutely an answer, okay? And being very selective about when you say nothing can be so powerful. Don't feed into other people's negativity. Don't gossip. Gossiping is not being impeccable with your word. Gossiping is not being in integrity. It's kind of cowardly. And the fact is we all can slip into the allure of gossip. But there's nothing good about it. But when you're being attacked verbally, or you're being attacked passive-aggressively, or someone is arguing with you, sometimes just saying nothing is the most powerful thing that you can do. If somebody is being dishonest, you will get so much further by just looking at them and saying nothing. Because what do? The people often are looking for a reaction from you. And when you don't give them the reaction, all of a sudden you're the person that's in control. But it takes a lot of inner strength to not react. For a lot of the chosen out there, people on the path to enlightenment, people on the spiritual path, we have narcissists in our life. Let's just face it. Talked about this in a previous video as well. The dark is always trying to dim your light. Because if you have a mission here, the dark does not have any interest in you fulfilling your mission. And so the most effective vehicle for the dark are narcissists. And narcissists prey on people who react. They prey on your emotions. And so and they also put you in a lose-lose position. They do this all the time. The way they are so cunning with their words, they put you in these lose-lose positions, and it's like, oh, if I go this way, that's not going to be good for me. But if I say this, then that's just equally not going to be good for me. And so you know what you do? You do nothing. You say nothing. You don't react. I don't want to go down a narcissist rabbit hole here, but there's a technique called gray rocking, and that's when you literally look like this, and as they talk, and you say nothing. You give them no emotion. You don't give them any feedback. You give them nothing that they can work with, and what happens is they leave extremely frustrated because you're not giving them what they want. To me, that's being impeccable with your word, because it's one of the ways that you can achieve freedom from these people. You're not giving them what they want, so you are no longer the narcissist's supply. And after a while, they'll move on and find somebody else because they get nowhere with you. They hit a wall. Being impeccable with your word is often saying nothing. So read the book. It is amazing. I'm going to read it again. But be impeccable with your word is the first agreement, and it is the first thing that when you start to really be more conscious of how you're interacting and speaking, it will be step one toward personal freedom, really. So, Don Miguel Ruiz, The 4 Agreements, amazing book. I hope this makes you think. I hope that it resonates for you. Please like, share, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one.